Hi, and welcome back to the FreeFormKnits Youtube channel. I'm Haxann Evers, a knit and crocheters, FreeFormKnits of crafting of love to the world of design. All the places you can find me will be listed right down below this video. This is my channel where we talk about knitting, crochet, designs, all that fun stuff. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. This is podcast episode 60 something. I never know. I don't even know why I bothered to put the episode name. It's on the title because I've checked it, but I have not checked it before sitting down to film. Oh well. So I'm coming to you on Thursday, August 4th, and there's quite a bit to talk about. So we're just going to jump right into it. I actually don't remember the last time I filmed a podcast. It feels like a long time. It might have been. I don't remember. Actually, no, I don't think it was. I think it was last week. I don't know. But once again, I kind of went through something with my crafting. Didn't know what I wanted to do. I had so many ideas of things I wanted to do, so it's quite a lot to go through. But I do have some finished objects, which is very exciting. I have two finished objects right here. And the first one is this pair of socks. One was done last time, and the other I was just past the heel, I think. So it is this pair of self-striping socks done out of Patons Croy in the Midnight Orchid colorway. And I told you the story of the so close matching, my own fault, that I did not get them perfectly matching, but they really did catch up to each other at the end. If I can show you. See, they match at the end, so just how it worked out. The mini I used was a Yarn Bee mini. It didn't have like a specific colorway name. I had actually used up in combination of what I had to wind off to start the second one, including my little mistake of not starting it in the right place. I think I only had like 3 stripes total, so like these are short stripes, so I had very little left, so I did a really good job of using up all the yarn in just one 50-gram skein. So this is the sock. I used my shortcut heel vanilla sock recipe, cuff down version. The toe up version is actually going to be released tomorrow. I'm just going all over the place, but my shortcut heel is a heel construction that requires no short rows. You can do it in both stockinette and garter stitch, and the pattern comes with a full video tutorial. This is the cuff down version. I am going to release the toe up version tomorrow, and I'm just super excited about it. My shortcut heel just fits me so well. It's so easy to do. I never lose my place, and I just love it. So I'm so excited to have both the cuff down and toe up version out there. Yeah, tangent. No, it feels like forever since I've done this, and even though it's not, I remembered I did put a podcast up last week, but I'm all over the place. Anyway, finished object. I did put my hat trick toe rather than the toe included in the cuff down vanilla sock recipe. And this toe is pretty, I think, in most of my most recent sock designs, so just a nice rounded toe. And yeah, I'm super happy to have a finished pair of socks. I really want to make more socks. I want to cast on another vanilla pair as well as a patterned pair. And I just haven't done that yet, but I have the yarn set aside for it. Just gonna throw that on the floor because my table is full of things here. And the second finished object is a sweater. I actually finished a sweater. I'm so happy that I finished a sweater. Here it is in all its glory, and can you believe I blocked it? I actually blocked it. I did quite a bit of blocking this week, which is super exciting because I typically, I don't really block. I do work with a lot of acrylic yarns, so acrylic yarns kind of don't need as blocking as much as yarns with other fiber content, but this yarn is Yarn Bee Must Be Merino, so it does have some merino wool in it, and it needed a good block, especially because of the lace. It looks so good blocked out. I'm so happy with it. I have not tried it on since blocking it, but I'm pretty sure just looking at it, I got a little bit more length out of it. I actually think there is one end hiding in one of the sleeves that I forgot to weave in, otherwise everything else is woven in. The only thing, this collar I did in garter stitch. I think I went down needle size, but I should have done either one more ridge. I was worried about it doing too many ridges, or I should have just stuck with the ribbing like I did for the sleeve, because it does want to roll a little bit, but it's okay. So this pattern is kind of a mismatch of things. I used the top-down sweater construction by Ann Budd. I believe that's what it's called. It's a great book. Kind of as a starting point, but I hacked it in order to get the yoke depth I wanted, as well as some stuff in the with the last round of increases I mixed up, and then I did my own sleeve shaping and this lace pattern. So I really love that book. I have it here somewhere. I would show it to you to get the title right for once. I really love it. It's just a great way to, like, if you are interested in sweaters and understanding how they work, it's great to start with, to follow the recipes through, and then to be able to pluck the stuff that works for you and the stuff that doesn't work for you out of it and use it as a jumping board to make your own sweater. I'm so happy with this. I've had this idea of doing a sweater like this for so long. The colorway name is the Blush, and I love a good pink. I really do. It looks so pretty, and I'm so excited to actually wear it when it gets cooler here. We're in August now, which is really something. Time just flies. And it's supposed to be super hot this week. I think today alone is supposed to be 97 degrees, which I live in the state of Pennsylvania. It gets hot here, but that's really hot for us. But it will be quite a while before a wool sweater. This is a blend of 50% merino wool, 25% acrylic, 25% nylon, I believe is the correct percentages. But it'll be a while before I need this. But it is super pretty. I'm obsessed with this lace. I just want to put it in everything. I really need to, because it's so pretty. I actually did a pair of socks out of this lace pattern so long ago, in like one of my first podcast episodes. I just never wrote up the pattern because I combined it with another lace pattern on the back of the sock, and I made the sock too tight, and I just never revisited it. But I need to do something in this lace because it's super simple too. Like, oh, I love it so much. I also did garter at the bottom hem, and for my bind offs, which is something I struggle with, for this one, I believe I didn't go down a needle size for the cuff on the hem or the cuffs on the sleeves. I only went down a needle size for the neckline. I went down to like a 5, and I knit this on a 7. And to bind off, I used my 11 needle tip. Like, I have the interchangeable set, and I just used the US 11 needle tip to make sure the stitches were big enough, and then bound off just all knit stitches on the bottom, and then I did ribbing for the cuffs. And I did a sewn bind off for the ribbing. I forgot. I had a whole debate with myself. I did a sewn bind off for the cuffs, which looks pretty good, and it does keep it nice and stretchy. So, but for the bottom hem, I just did the standard bind off with a large needle tip. It's always, bind offs, they didn't used to be so tricky for me to make sure that they weren't too tight or too loose, but they have in recent time. I don't know why. My attention changed or something, or I became aware of it and overcompensated. I don't know. Super pretty, and I'm so happy to have a finished sweater because it's going to be a while before I finish another sweater, as you will see in a minute. But that's a finished pair of socks, finished sweater. That's great. Before I forget, I am actually wearing a sweater or a t-shirt. This is the Hooked on Homemade Happiness basic tee pattern. I showed this as a finished object quite a while ago, and I only just wove in the ends today because I was going to wear my other basic tee, the blue one that I've worn plenty of times on the podcast, but decided to wear this one because it was just sitting here waiting for ends to be woven in. So here it is. I'm sure my skeins must have been short because for the basic tee I made the first time, I had so much left over, and this one is a lot shorter, it feels like, wearing it, and I had nothing left over. So actually, I think I'm like pretty sure they're putting less yardage. Like, this is I Love This Cotton is a line from Hobby Lobby. I I'm pretty sure they're putting less yardage in their cotton skeins. I think. I thought for the longest time, I don't remember what my tag said, but I remember being shocked by it because I used to think they were full 100-gram skeins. They are not. They are less than that. Now I think they're. I don't remember what they say they are now, but I know when I looked at it, I was surprised because it was even less than I thought. So, and just by how it fits, unless my tension's changed, I don't know. But it does feel a little bit uncomfortable. It's a little too short. Like I am wearing it with like high-waisted leggings and stuff, so it kind of works, but it's just shorter than I typically go for, even though I made these tops to be shorter than the t-shirts I usually wear. So I don't know. I could be wrong. My tension may have changed. Whatever. Where was I going with this? I don't even know. But I wove my ends last minute. Literally wove my ends and then put it on because I wanted to wear it. Tired of something new to wear on the podcast. And it was just laying around, not getting ends woven in. But I don't know. It's very pretty. I don't remember the colorway name. But Hooked on Homemade Happiness Basic Tee. I believe I followed it. No, I didn't follow completely the pattern. I did omit a couple of increase rounds just because I have no yoke depth. So yeah, super pretty. But this is what I'm wearing. Not a new finished object. It's been finished for a long time. Anyway, moving into whips. A lot of whips. So how did this start? I talked about before, I have a lot of ideas. A lot of ideas of things I want to make. I usually only have a certain number of whips cast on, like one of one type of whip. Like I'll have one sweater, one sock, one small project, one crochet project, you know. But I have so many ideas of things I want to make. And sometimes my motivation to work on something, like I'll get it into my head, oh, I want to knit or crochet. I want to knit or crochet on a certain thing, but I haven't cast that thing on yet. I should work on the thing I have already cast on, but I don't want to work on that, so I end up doing nothing, which is not productive. And it drives me crazy. It's a stupid flaw in my own thinking. So I decided I'm done being a monogamous knitter. I've been pushing the label of monogamous knitter away from me for so long, because when I first started knitting and crocheting, I only had one project at a time. That was it. Hard rule. And then I expanded that to 2 to 3, and now I have so many cast on. And I've just thrown any rules out the window and decided it's better to be knitting on something than not be knitting at all because you don't think you're knitting on the right thing. No more. So what I did, I took this big basket and I found a bunch of my project bags. I put yarn and needles in each project bag, threw everything in a basket, and this basket is usually overflowing with project bags. And I take it around the house, and whatever I want to work on, it's there. That's it. No more of feeling like, well, I want to work on something, I don't want to go find the yarn for it to cast on something new. I just want to sit here and do it, but I don't have anything I want to work on while I'm sitting here that's already cast on. No more excuses. I've casted on a bunch of things. This actually, I had this in here because I didn't think I casted it on. I did cast it on. So this one is a pair of socks that I have not cast on yet, so it's sitting in here. This is my garter stitch sweater that I've not touched, but it is sitting in here because I do want to work on it eventually. And everything on the table here is stuff that I have either casted on or actively worked on in the past week. So it's been working okay. I mean, it's a lot of works in progress, but I've actually done stuff. I've actually been knitting and crocheting and enjoying it. Something I've been crocheting on a lot is my Tunisian square blanket. So speaking of blocking, I blocked that sweater. I also blocked all the squares I have already made. So this is like, I'm making this out of Brava, Knit Picks Brava, and I Love This Yarn, and I love this yarn. Yeah. I'm like mixing them, so all the colors are Brava minis, and then this is just the ivory color of I Love This Yarn. And so they are still a little bit mismatched, but they like so much better than a non-blocked square. See, this is a non-blocked square. This is a blocked square. And it was so exciting to me to actually see how much I've done in this blanket. Because I've never like done a big motif blanket before. Like they've always been pretty small. I'm still not sure how big this one's going to be, to be honest. But it's quite a bit. I haven't counted the squares in a while, but I have quite a bit done. And we're not even going to talk about my end situation because I was not cutting my ends with the intention of using them to sew in. Like, I already have an idea. I'm probably going to end up single crocheting them all together. So it's going to be fun weaving in all those ends. But we're not going to talk about that. And this week I've actually done, 6 more squares? I've done 6 more squares. That's 3 more mini skeins. Because I can get 2 squares out of 1 mini. So I did this one. I did all the yellows, really. These are the same color. This orange. This yellow. Honestly, in the certain lighting, these looked like identical. So I'm glad to see on camera they look very different. But I did all these, so these have to get blocked. And then I am actually so close to being done with this blanket. I will show you how I just lay these flat first. It's very hard to lay them flat because the Tunisian crochet wants to roll. Just kind of, there we go. I have to keep the piles separate, otherwise I will block the other ones again. It did take a while to block them. I do have some leftovers from each, but it's not quite enough to get another square out of. And here is where I'm keeping the project in this little bag. So I actually only have five minis left. Got 5 minis left. All these blues and greens and then this one red. So that's 10 squares. I only have 10 squares left and I can get 2 done in a day. Like, honestly, having this project just in that basket and being in a bag like this, it's been so easy to just pick up and work on it. So I got those 6 squares done and I will get these squares done too. So I actually have started another square. I'm almost at the halfway point. Just been hanging out in this bag. I'm using the biggest Tunisian crochet hook I have, which is a 6.5 or K. And I have my little snips in this bag, so I can just cut the yarn when I need to. And it's so exciting to have this done. I can't wait to have this done, to not only have the finished object, but then I will probably pull out my other Tunisian blanket, which I have not touched since I cast it on. It's not in that basket, it's hiding under my bed with all the scraps I want to use for it. So that's a work in progress, and I'm so happy that I've made progress on it and I can see a finish line because it's such an enjoyable project. Truly, I really love the process of making those squares, which is surprising to me because I've never done a blanket like this before. A little, like a motif, what's it called? Yeah. And that's seen a lot of work, so that's great. I can't wait to have that done. And we have 5 more active whips. We're just gonna go through them. So this is another work in progress. This is something I wanted to do something like this for a long time. You might be able to see here, I shared this on my Instagram, this square right here. I'll pull it off the corkboard. I have a little corkboard stationed there. I did this little swatch because I wanted to do crochet color work for so long. And I finally did. So this little swatch was super fun to do. I think it's done in like the mosaic type color work. I watched a video, but it wasn't like a very in-depth video. I already had an idea of how it would work. And it was called tapestry crochet. So like I always had the color with me. I was carrying it throughout the work. And this is like a self-striping, these different colors. And like the first row, it worked out to have, 2 rows of each color, but then it kind of went off par just because of the colorway. It was just a scrap I had. And it was so much fun to do, and I wanted to do a project like this. And on Instagram, I saw Yarnspiration shared this project. They had this little project bag. And it's called the Totally Triangles Multi-Use Bags, I think, unless that's like the collection. No, Totally Triangles Multi-Use Bag. And it looked super fun to do. Just super simple. It's a free pattern. You can just go on the Yarnspiration website, easy chart. And I just wanted to try it. So I had this yarn in my stash, which it's been in my stash for so long. And I want to use it up. I used a little bit of it in a crochet shawl a while ago. It's like this It's this acrylic something. It's not bad yarn, but it just, I think it would irritate me to have it in something, so I just want to use it up in something like this. And then I had a bunch of this scrap, but I picked these two because I not only want them on my stash, but also just the variegation I thought would look nice as these triangles. I'm just using these two colors, no other. Like, I think this pattern, first of all, this pattern is made out of cotton. I'm using acrylic, and they use like different colors for each of the triangles. But I'm not doing that, so I started this, and I'm using a 5.5, and I did 1 repeat so far. I think I started the next repeat. Not a very big, it's not showing up as a big contrast, and it honestly isn't that big of a contrast. I'm kind of just doing it at this point to get better at my crochet managing skills, because like in knitting, when I do color work, I have one in each hand, but with crochet, I don't think I can do that. I mean, I probably could, but I've just been playing around with like still holding the hook, but then switching with my hand and not getting my yarn tangled, all that. So I'll keep going with it, and I'll probably put another repeat on this soon, because I think it's just good every now and then to just put a repeat on and not worry about it. I'm probably only going to do just enough to be a little pouch. It's just got that simple bottom, you crochet around, so you're doing it in rounds, and just single crochet and changing colors. So it's super simple, and yeah, I think it would look nicer in a better contrast, better yarns picked out. But it's just a practice project, and it's a new skill that I've wanted to learn for so long, and now I'm actually learning it because I actually took the time to pick out the yarn and start it and have it around, so anytime I want to work on it, I can just work on it. It's okay if it doesn't get done in a while. I say now. Then I will no doubt go through like a spree of finishing projects, but right now I don't care, and it's just been really fun, and I'm super happy that I'm learning some crochet color work, because it's so cool that crochet color work. It just looks so, it's so much different from knitted color work. Like crochet and knitted fabrics are just so different, and to see them done in different patterns is so much fun. And that brings us to another work in progress, which I think they're all knitted now. So that's my last crochet work in progress, which honestly, I do want to cast on a crochet sweater really badly. I just really, really want to do that, but the sweater situation is kind of a little bit out of control. Before we get into sweaters, we will talk about this work in progress, which honestly, I think I'm going to frog. I wanted to make a hat. I really wanted to make a hat, but I don't like the yarn and needle combination I'm using. So this is, what is it called? I think Yarn P Soft and Sleek Low Pill Fiber. And it's not a bad yarn. I do like this yarn, but it's just not, I'm using a size 9 needle, and it's not a fun combination. I'm not enjoying the gauge, even though I always use a 9 for worsted. I think it's just that this yarn is just, it's not even that it's stiff, it's just thick, and I don't know what my problem is, but I'm just not enjoying it. I started doing a little pattern, actually using the stitch pattern on my Tripping Hazard sock pattern, which is part of my Garter Stitch sock collection, but I'm just not enjoying it, so I think I'm going to just frog it. Honestly, I started this hat partly because I wanted to make a hat, and partly because I had an idea of, like, this could be a gift for later in the year, but it's not the color I wanted anyway, and it's just not working, so I think I'm going to frog it, even though I did get kind of far with it, but it's just not enjoyable. So I'm going to frog it and possibly find a different yarn to make a hat out of. Do that on the floor. So really, now we're back. Now that part's down a whip, not too many whips on the go. But we'll talk about sweaters first. Let me get this thumbtack that I used for the swatch out of the way, because otherwise I will lose it and possibly step on it. And we'll start with this sweater. This was a work in progress last time. It's a brioche sweater that I started, and I had to frog it completely because I did not like how the increases were coming along. Now I do like how the increases are coming along. I do like how they're coming along. However, I have an idea that would make them even better, but I don't want to frog it again. So I'm going to first finish this yoke and see how it looks, and then maybe future do another brioche sweater with my other idea for how to do the raglan increases. Anyway, here is the sweater. I'm further than I was the last time before I frogged it, and brioche looks so good. So here are my raglan increases. They look pretty good. So there was a bit of a blip where I've noticed every time I introduce the increased stitches into the brioche patterning, it's very loose on one side, like you can see, like my finger can poke through. So I started knitting them for a few hours before introducing them, which kind of helped. But honestly, it's just the nature of the brioche, really, to just, you know, when you start slipping stitches, to be a little bit loose when they introduce the patterning. And it's not like when you wear it you're going to notice. It's just I notice it while I'm working on it. But it'll be fine. So the problem with the increases, the issue I was having, is that in brioche you essentially have to knit every round twice in order to do one round of patterning. So what that leaves increases is kind of strange. It's like, do you do an increase then technically every 3 rounds, because it's actually every other round? Like it messed me up. So I'm doing them in knitting, knit stitch, stuck knit stitch. So I am keeping them in there every other round, increase patterning. But I had an idea for what if I slipped them one round? Like that would like pretty much solve everything. But I didn't think of that until I was like halfway through, and I was like, I gotta see if this works now. So it should work. The only issue is that I might reach my number of stitches needed to separate for the sleeves before I've reached a good yoke depth. That's the only issue. But even if I do reach that, a lot of patterns have, after you've finished increasing, have you knit a little bit extra before separating for sleeves, specifically because you've reached your yoke circumference, but not your yoke depth. So it shouldn't be an issue. Honestly, I've always omitted that instruction in patterns, knitting extra for yoke depth, because I don't need it for my yoke. I have no yoke depth. I've always managed to just eliminate, like, knit an extra 2 inches. Like, I don't need to do that. I could separate my sleeves and have like over 100 stitches less off my needles, depending on what kind of sweater I'm making. I don't need to do that, but I might need to do that for this. I will definitely need to do that for this. And it's just a question of how it will look, how it will lay, but it's pretty good. It's so squishy. I love it. I love it so much. I am using I believe it's just a 10, right? 6mm needle, 10 my Knit Picks Radiant Wood. And the yarn I'm using is Yarn Bee Yarn Bee ID in the soft shell colorway. So I'm still on my first skein, and it's been really fun. I haven't touched it in a few days. I have to pick it up again, do a little bit just to. It kind of makes me anxious when I don't know how it's going to turn out. You know, like I think it's all going to be fine, but like slogging through an extra couple inches after I've done increases is something I haven't done before, even though I know that technically it should be okay. So it just makes me anxious, and I don't want to like work on it because I'm like, how is it going to turn out? But the only way to find out is to actually work on it. So, yep, pretty work in progress. And it's just hanging out in this Winnie the Pooh bag. Still haven't made new project bags yet. I don't know when I'm going to get to that, because honestly, I'm attending summer classes at the community college, and fall semester is starting. The summer classes are ending. Summer classes start on like the 27th, so I really don't have time to drag out all my sewing supplies, but I still really would love some new project bags. But I don't know, maybe I'll get a burst of energy to do that. I have enough project bags, but they're like my first attempts at project bags, so they're good. They're good. You know, they're decent, but I would really love some shiny new project bags. I want to make them, like I want to sew some project bags, but I don't know when that's gonna happen. I think that every time I put a project in a project bag, like I have fabric, I could make project bags, but there's stuff going on, you know. Designs and knitting to be done. So yeah, I have saved in my saved on like a playlist on YouTube. It came across my feed, quilting, which is a rabbit hole I of course need to go down. I did make one. I don't know if I ever showed it on the podcast. Like I sewed a quilt. It's one of those. I got the idea from Legacy Knits by Legacy Knits podcast. This was so long ago. It was like two years now. Oh my goodness. Like you take a bunch of quilts and you cut squares. You sew over them, and then the seams, they're like frayed, so there's no like finishing work. Like it's supposed to be like that. And I really want to make another one of that. But then I found this other tutorial that looks really simple of how to do it like neater and like a more finished look. And I just want to go down the sewing rabbit hole, but I really shouldn't because I'm already going down the casting all the things rabbit hole. So I don't know. It's just a matter of deciding which crafting endeavor do I want to devote time to today. And the answer is always all of them. So, but that doesn't work. Anyway, next work in progress. I have 2 knitted sweaters. Case in point. The first one was, did I cast it? I don't know if it was cast on last time. I think it was. It is this textured pink cardigan because I wanted a pink textured cardigan. And the yarn I'm using is I Love This Yarn in the, I want to say fuchsia, but no, hot rose. Hot rose color, very, very pink. I never think of myself as somebody who really, really likes pink, but honestly, there are just some shades of pink that are just so pretty. And honestly, I've made a lot of things out of blue for myself. So I need to now pick some new colors, which is every shade of pink, That brioche sweater, the sweater I finished, this sweater, all pink. Here it is. These numbers, I designed this totally myself. I came up with the numbers, and honestly, I am a little worried that it might, like the sleeves look very small. Again, that worry about yoke depth and my little Lego arms, but needing measurements for my bust. It's kind of like a game I play with every sweater, and I'm trying to kind of make my sweaters not so much bigger than I usually need them. Like I'm a 34-inch bust, but I typically do 36-inch or higher. And while I really like those kind of sweaters, I also just want to kind of experiment with more precise measurements for myself. So this does fit, and I do intend to have like a big garter shawl collar type thing all the way around it, and a big garter band, and then I will do ribbing on the sleeve just so that it cinches. But here it is. This is the wrong side, which looks really cool. But this is the textured right side of the work. I love it so much. I love how I got the increases to work out. I think I might have needed to frog this too. Maybe it wasn't cast on last time, because I know I started it and needed to frog it because I was trying to do KFBs, knit front backs for my increases, but I ended up doing yarn overs. I literally forgot that yarn overs existed. I don't know what my problem was. I was trying to figure out how to get the stitch counts I needed to keep the patterning intact, but yet still do knit front back as my increases. And then I thought, yarn overs, do yarn overs, and then I don't like make one left, make one right. I don't want to do them because I find them slow. Yarn overs, and then on the next row, knit them to the back loop. That's my increase. It's basically the same effect as a make one left to make one right. It just is easier in my mind. But so I had to frog it and put that in. I just don't remember if you ever saw it. But super nice. And I think I'm using a 10 for this project as well, because I swatched for the brioche with a different needle and then realized that it would be the same needle. 10, yes, 6mm worsted weight yarn, and it's just making a really nice fabric. And I don't think this was cast on, because that's a lot of knitting. I'm sitting here talking about how I have so many projects, I'm not devoting time to any one of them. That's a lot. I've made crochet squares, I've done a whole yoke and then some on one sweater, a yoke on another sweater, finished sleeves. That's a lot of knitting. I'm quite proud of myself, because I feel like I haven't done a lot of knitting and crochet this week, but that's okay. And there is one more sweater to talk about, and I've just casted it on as well. It's mostly it's not just cast on. I cast on a few days ago, but I've been chipping away row by row by it. So I don't know why I had this idea for this color combo, like a sweater as this. I have never done like an all over colorwork sweater, but I just saw this color. This is the main, this is the contrast, and I just had to find a good pattern for it. Now, I didn't know what exactly I wanted, so even though there are so many amazing colorwork yoke sweaters, like full colorwork yoke, full colorwork body sweaters out there, I just didn't find any that spoke to me. But then Julianne Knitter of Twin Stitches Designs, she has this pattern. So she actually had, I'm signed up for her email list, and she, as a gift to all her subscribers, a coupon code for one free pattern from her shop. And it was just like, this is what you're meant to do. So I am doing this sweater. This is her Cozy Sunday sweater, I believe. Does it say at the bottom of the page? Cozy Sunday sweater, yes, by Twin Stitches Designs. And so this is not an all-over colorwork sweater, but I plan to do the colorwork to carry it out throughout, to like do it all over, make it all over. So this is what it looks like. It's actually done out of DK. I'm using worsted. I'm just doing the smallest size, which will work out to about a 36-inch bust for me, but I wanted to have positive ease anyway, so it'll all be fine. I am hacking it a little bit with the colorwork chart, like just changing things around, but because I'm using worsted and a bigger needle, I didn't want my yoke depth to be too deep, even though I'm prepared for it. I want it to be oversized, like that's the look I'm going for. But I needed to not also be like down here in my yoke, because my row gauge, my round gauge is all off. I'm using size 9 needles, and here it is so far. I haven't gotten to the big colorwork portion yet. She also calls for, I think, 3 colors for her colorwork. I'm only using the 2, so I've done some playing around with that. But I love the yellow and the sparkly pink. It'll be such a cheerful colorwork sweater. Like, I'm just really excited about it. So I think I'm just now on the diamond colorwork part of the yoke. I am again a little bit worried when it comes to sleeve separation, but because I've had to take out rounds, I'm worried about how like the increases will lay and everything, but it should be fine because it's a circular yoke. There's really, as long as you separate correctly for the body and sleeves, it should be fine. The colors, they're both out of this yarn. I love when I do color work to just kind of put them side by side in a bag like this, so it's just kind of hard to rough around and find the tags. So this is in the cream, and this one is in the, I love this yarn, metallic, in the, can't find the colorway name, Pinky Toes. That's a weird name, but it's pretty and it's sparkly, and I want like some color to my wardrobe rather than just the neutral colored t-shirts and jeans for the winter months. But it is super pretty, and I am having so much fun with it. I want to work on this too. I love when I do the podcast. It's really a chance for me to go through all my projects and say, oh, like I want to work on this, I want to frog that, you know. It's really fun. So that is the end of the whip parade, I promise. But boy, do I want to cast. I want to cast on those socks. I have socks I want to cast on. 2 pairs. I want to find the yarn for a hat. I don't want to find the yarn for a hat. The thing is, I wanted to make a DK weight. I wanted to make a dark gray hat because that's a very neutral color to give to any of my siblings come the winter months. And I have dark gray DK weight yarn in my stash, but I have it set aside for a blanket project. And the blanket I want to do is the like it's already cast on, it's a Tunisian blanket that I want to do after I finish this Tunisian blanket. So I don't want to take yarn from that because like then I'll run out for the blanket and it'll be a different dye lot. It's not really a big deal. It probably won't be that big of it because it's acrylic yarn. It's from Hobby Lobby, so it's not like the dye lots will be that different. Like it's a commercial yarn, and I probably won't notice it because it's got other colors in it. But all that to say is that's what led me to cast on with that yarn, which I'm not enjoying for that hat. So all that to say I don't really want to, I want to make a hat, but do I really, I want to have a hat already done. I don't know if that made any sense, but all that to say is I make the rules of my crafting. I can cast on a bunch of things, I can decide to cast on something, I can frog it, it's okay, it's yarn, it's fine. Yeah. I don't know if there was anything to take away in that, because that was just a babble of words. But anyway, here is this is what I take around the house with me. Anything I want to work on, it's right here. I actually do have one more work in progress. I started another crochet amigurumi project. I literally just started it, and it's shoved in a basket. I just have to work on it, obviously, but the pattern is like on a website online, so it's just harder to work on amigurumi without having it its own basket like this, because you need little bits of yarn from big skeins and different colors, so it's just harder to have around. But there's not much to show about it, so I'll show it to you when it's finished, which who knows when that will be, because apparently I just cast things on and don't finish them right away anymore, and I'm okay with that, which is surprising. So that is the end of works in progress, finished objects. I will quickly say in designs, like I mentioned at the beginning, my toe up heel, I messed up my own name for my pattern, because Ravelry told me that the name I had was too long, and now I mess it up every time. It's the toe up shortcut heel. That is what the pattern is called. It's a vanilla sock recipe. It's got 5 sizes. It comes with a complete tutorial on how to do the toe up shortcut heel, which is a heel construction that requires no short rows. It is very easy to follow. It is simple to, like, you can put it down and pick it up. Like, I know a lot of people, when they talk about knitting socks, like, I knit the leg, but then I have to set it aside to do the heel because I need like a certain time frame for that. Not with this sock pattern, because it's just, not with this heel pattern, because it's so simple to see where you are. And honestly, when I'm at the heel, I can just do the heel. I don't have to like set aside time for it. I don't have to make sure I don't lose my place. It's just really easy. I love it. I love that I have now the cuff down version and the toe up version, because I can do socks in either which way. And that pattern, the pre-order ended. It is out right now, so you can go get it if you are interested in making toe-up socks. I have a couple tutorials here on YouTube about like the easiest toe-up cast-on, or ways to cast off on your socks for a stretchy cast-off, because with toe-up socks you obviously end at the cuff rather than starting. And I know that's something, like I mentioned with my sweater, I struggle with getting the bind-offs correct and not too tight, especially for socks. So I have 2 different cast-ons here on YouTube you can watch. There's different cast-offs on YouTube that you can watch. I can speak, maybe, possibly. And all those are listed in the pattern. They're linked in the pattern. And yeah, I'm just super excited about this sock pattern. A lot of my testers agree it's a great beginner toe-up pattern, because it's just, I give you the easiest toe-up cast-on. I walk you through the heel. There's a tutorial for that. It's just really easy. So if you are interested, you can check that out. Even if you just go over on Ravelry and like the pattern page, that means a lot, because that helps other knitters see it, and maybe they don't know they're looking for it. And it's just really great. And I'm so thankful to any of you who have already who participated in the pre-order for this pattern. It was just so amazing, and it just makes me very happy that, like, I put a pattern out there that you liked enough to support me as a designer, and hopefully it helps you with your sock knitting journey of finding socks, making socks that fit you the way you want them to fit, and an enjoyable process. So yeah, that's all very exciting, and yeah, it just makes me very happy. I love my sock pattern. I love the shortcut heel. It's for so long, heel knitting was so frustrating for me, because as much as I enjoy so many different sock patterns and so many different types of heels, it just was really frustrating not to have a heel that fit me and that I could easily do. And I now have that, and it's so cool that I can share that with some of you, and you can hopefully also get answers to your sock knitting questions and fits. Yeah, rambling mess. That is the end of this podcast episode. Thank you so much for joining me. If you could comment down below something you were working on, I would love to hear about it, and I will see you in the next video. Happy crafting!